Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Don't Talk Sports. My name is Dylan. In today's video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to talk about the NFL free agency along with the Cleveland Browns. I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, so we're going to be talking about who they could possibly go after in free agency. There's been some reports about Higgins possibly leaving the Bengals, coming to the Browns. There's been some reports about Mike Evans possibly leaving the Buccaneers. Maybe the Browns will go after him. There's a couple of other targets we might talk about, and then we're also going to talk about some of the players that are already on the Browns roster this past season. There's about a handful, about 20 plus players that are going to be free agents this offseason, and we're going to talk about are there any of them that I think the Browns need to go after, or they need to make a push to make sure we keep them on the roster, because if we lose them, it's gonna hurt us. And I'm telling you right now, there's quite a few of them that I'm praying to God we can at least bring them back on another 1 to 2 year deals. So without further ado, if you're going to enjoy it, as always, make sure you drop a like on today's video. Be very much appreciated if you do so. But without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, first up, before I go any further, there's going to be a couple of different links that we're going to be checking out. I'm going to put every single one of them down in the description below, so if you want to check them out for yourself, feel free to do so. But starting off, this website here has basically all the Cleveland Browns free agents that's going to be coming up in the next 2024 season. Every single player that, if we do not sign him back, they will possibly be playing somewhere else next season. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go one by one, just kind of listing off yes or no if we should be bringing them back or not. So starting off, Zadarius Smith, I would like to bring him back, but as you can see, he's probably going to be projected. If you click on the market value, it also shows kind of like what they're projected to be. And as you can see, 12.4 million is kind of what he's projected to get going forward, and I don't think the Browns really want to be paying that kind of money for Zadarius Smith. If we could get him on like the cheaper, maybe like a 7 to 8 million, we would, but I already know Zadarius Smith, he's an elite player. He's going to go somewhere else where he can get upwards of like 12 to 15 million, and he deserves it, so I don't think he's coming back. Shelby Harris, I would love to come back, have him come back. He might decide to go somewhere else. We traded for him in the offseason, I think, or he was a free agent, one of the two. But he came over to us on a cheap deal, 1 year deal. If we can get him back on another 1 year deal cheap, I would love it. Jakeem Grant, he's just been riddled with injuries, Achilles, ACLs. I don't think we're going to bring him back. Joe Flacco, I would have said yeah if Deshaun Watson wasn't our quarterback and Joe Flacco came in here and saved the day for us. But Joe Flacco, he's probably going to go somewhere else with the way he played. I wouldn't be surprised if the guy just decides to go somewhere else. He's going to get teams now wanting to have him as a backup, or at least maybe he can get a starting job, so he'll be somewhere else. Sione Takitaki, we need to get him back. He is a great linebacker for us, a run thumper. Comes down, thumps the running backs. He's a great linebacker. I would love to have him back. Marquise Goodwin, I think he can walk. We can easily replace him in the draft, I think. Corey Bojorquez, I'm not going to lie. This is the first time where I've actually looked at a punter and said, we need to get them back. I would bring him back 100%. Michael Ford, if it's on a cheaper deal, like a 1 year, $2 million deal, sure. Kareem Hunt, I would have said bring him back if like Nick Chubb's injury was like career ending, but it's not. He'll be back next season. So I think with Nick Chubb and Jerome Ford, Kareem Hunt, I think he can walk. Rodney McLeod, I think was really good for us this season as just being a veteran presence in the locker room for that safety room. But if he decides to go somewhere else for chase more money, that's fine. We're not going to chase him. But if he decides he wants to be with us and he's willing to take a cheap deal, sure. Maurice Hurst is the one I would love to have coming back to the Browns, because with the way our D-line room is going to look next year and with the new coach coming in, he can be a very big piece and help just disrupt our offensive game plans with him, Myles Garrett, and all the other D-linemen we have. Oh my God, that D-line room will be insane. I'm not going to pronounce the linebacker's name, but Jordan Cohen-6, I think is how you say the name. But he can walk. I'm not going to lie. I don't really know who he is, so he could probably walk. Anthony Walker, I think he's going to be coming back. He will come back for the Browns. I think if he wants a lot of money, we're going to let him go. Like if he's asking for the value of like 10, 15 million, he can walk. But if we can get him back on like a 2 year, $12 million deal, I can see that. Matt Adams, he can walk. Daron Harmon, he can walk. Jordan Elliott, I would like Elliott to come back, but he's just been so inconsistent with us. If he wants to come back on another 1 year deal, sure. If not, you can go. Jacob Phillips, he's one of those guys where it's like, I want him to succeed. He's shown the ability to succeed. When Anthony Walker went down, Jacob Phillips kind of had to step in. He's been getting some reps, but he's just not shown it for me, and he can go. Gerard Christian, if he wants to come back, be a depth piece, that's fine. Harrison Bryant, I'm not gonna lie, before this season, I would have said he's an okay tight end, but he can really just go. But after the season, the way he looked with Joe Flacco, my God, this dude could be an undervalued wide receiver. Like, he looks like he's just like the perfect football player. He does the dirty work in the line. He's able to get blocks. But when it comes to receiving, Joe Flacco actually made him a really good receiver. Maybe Deshaun Watson can do something with him, but with the way he's played, he's not going to be able to ask for a lot of money. I think even if he went to a new team, the most he's going to get is maybe like $4 million a year. I think Cleveland might be able to afford that. Michael Dunn, maybe bring him back as a depth piece. James Prochet, if he wanted to come back as a returner, like I said earlier, if Jakeem Grant decides not to come back and we just let him walk, if we can get Prochet to come back, I'm not going to lie, that'd be a really nice pickup. With how much Poach is getting hurt at the center position, Nick Harris, I think we need to get him back as just another depth piece unless we can find somebody else in the offseason. And with Bill Callahan leaving us as the offensive line coach, going over to the Titans, this offensive line is going to be very shaky, and Nick Harris, we might need to get him back. Khalif Halisi, I think is how you say the name. This safety, don't know really who he is, but he can go. And then Babati Kayas, I think is how you say the name. Once again, another guy, he can walk. So kind of a recap, out of all these free agents, the ones that I would say the Browns need to get back, or at least I would love to have back, I would say Zadarius Smith, if the price is right. If the price is not right, he can go. Shelby Harris, I would love back. Sony Taki, I would love back. Corey Bojorquez, we need to have back. Rodney McLeod, I would love to have back. Not need, but I'd love to have him back. Anthony Walker, we need to have back. Maurice Hurst, I would love to have back. Better yet, I need him back. Harrison Bryant, I would love to have back. And I think Michael Dunn, we need him back. We need that guy back. And then Nick Harris is the one where it's like, if we get him back, great. If we don't get him back, best of luck to you. And now let's go into the more important news. Who could we go after in free agency? Players that are not on the Browns team now. Players that we could go after and possibly try to steal away from other teams. First up, if you haven't heard the news already, this was a couple weeks ago in the making, back on January 30th. But this has been talked about for a while. Deshaun Watson, he has a podcast with his quarterback coach, Quincy Avery. He's got a little podcast he does. He kind of talks about things. And he was quoted on there basically just saying that he would love to have T. Higgins, the wide receiver from the Bengals, to come over to the Cleveland Browns. Now, for anybody wondering how is this even going to happen if he's on the Bengals, aren't the Bengals just going to want to sign him back? There's been talks that the Bengals, now that they have Joe Burrow under contract for upwards of like $55 million, you have now Jamar Chase. He's going to want a lot of money. He's going to be obviously getting upwards of like 30 to 35 million. Say it's 35 just to be safe. Say he decides to ask for some crazy nuts number. Now you have 55 for Burrow. You have 35 for Chase. Right there's already about $90 million. You are going to be struggling if you think you're going to give T. Higgins a lot of money as well. You're basically giving almost half your payroll to just 3 players. You need 53 guys on a roster. When you look at the Cleveland Browns, we can afford some guys. We can pay. T. Higgins, I think he's going to be asking not the $35 million like Jamar Chase, but he's going to be asking at least like $20 million, I would think. And with the Browns, we kind of have a decision to make of, do we want to keep Amari Cooper? Do we want to keep T. Higgins? Could we maybe afford them both? Andrew Berry, he's a magic with the numbers. He knows how to reconstruct contracts, keep the cap space moving along down the road, make it to where we can afford these guys. Maybe he can find a way to where he can restructure, maybe keep Amari Cooper and keep T. Higgins. Because Amari Cooper, I think his contract is up next season, not this season. So we have him for another season, and there's been some talks maybe we do try to re-sign him this offseason. But T. Higgins, I think that's a real possibility. And with the way our offense runs, we need a big body receiver. T. Higgins, it could be that guy. We think Cedric Tillman could be that guy. That's kind of the reason why we let Donovan Peoples-Jones go in the trade deadline. And we thought Cedric Tillman maybe could grow into it. He's shown the possibility to do it. And now we need it's just pretty much obvious. Amari Cooper and David Njoku are our only threats in the receiving game. Other than that, everything else is just dormant out there. David Bell showed blossoms, but not like we wanted. And then in this little post here from Bleacher Report, they were talking about some players that the Browns could also go after. And like I said with the receiver, Amari Cooper, if the contract does run out and we decide to go after T. Higgins, that'd be good. We just replace one with another, same kind of money, and it'd be a great replacement. Another receiver that was kind of talked about is Mike Williams. We tried to go after him a few years ago. It didn't work out, and that's kind of why now T. Higgins is also kind of become the main favorite for us. Some other receivers that have been also talked about, like, let's see here, Michael Pittman Jr., maybe that could be a possibility, but I think he wants to be a Colt. He's going to be going back to Indianapolis. Another one is Calvin Ridley. Maybe he could leave the Jaguars. He's going to be asking for a good bit amount of money. Not super high money, maybe like the $25 million. Maybe we could go after him. And then like I already said a minute ago, Mike Evans. Maybe the Browns can go try to get him away. I believe about a year or two ago, we tried to possibly go after him, trying to trade for him. He did not. I think he did not want to go to the Browns, or maybe like the Buccaneers just looked at us like we were stupid and said, yeah, fuck that. That ain't happening. But I really do think if the Browns could go after somebody like a Mike Evans or a Calvin Ridley or a T. Higgins, get one of those guys to pair him up with Amari Cooper. You have David Njoku. Maybe like if David Bell and Cedric Tillman can grow into a new piece, maybe we go draft somebody in like the 5th, 6th, 7th round, get a new piece to go in there, develop, get even better, learn from some of these pros. Our wide receiver room could be fixed immediately. Now, ultimately, how is this going to work? Like I said, Andrew Berry, he's a wizard with the numbers. He's going to work his way. He's going to look at the cap space. He's going to look. Right now, I think we're already like 20 to 30 million over the cap space for next season. We have about 30 million saved up this year, so that's going to roll over into next season. That's going to put us, I think, doing the numbers, maybe like 5 million in cap space. We're going to restructure some contracts next season. Every GM does this. For any of you that might think I'm stupid, every single GM does this. We always restructure any contracts that can be restructured. If it's a contract that has like 3-4 years more left on the contract, restructure, save money. People have said the Browns might try to restructure Deshaun Watson contract again. That's stupid, especially with the fact that he's only got like 2 or 3 years left in the contract. If you restructure again, then you're looking at almost like $80 million cap hits. I wouldn't do that. If we can maybe try to get him to sign on some void years, some extension years, maybe we extend him, get another 2-year extension on the end of the contract. Maybe he can stay with Cleveland even longer. That could save us some money. It ultimately just comes down to money. If we can find a way to save more money in the cap space, we can get more free agents in here. And like I said, Mike Evans would be huge. T. Higgins would be huge. I think ultimately what's going to happen in the offseason, T. Higgins will be our guy that we're going to be going after the hardest. Andrew Berry, he does have a way with going after some more under the radar guys like Agbo Onkarunkro. Last year, the edge rusher from Houston. I didn't see that coming. I thought it was kind of like an okay pick, but as the season went on, I was like, holy shit, this guy's good. Maurice Hurst, didn't really think he was going to be a nice pickup as well. He showed up and he developed and he was booming out there. It's going to be a fun offseason to see kind of how things go. Free agency is going to be exciting. But ultimately, I think I trust Andrew Berry. I trust that he's going to get us the right pieces, and I think he'll make the right decisions. But other than that, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Hopefully you guys did go on to enjoy today's video. If you did enjoy, as always, make sure you go and drop a like on today's video. Be very much appreciated if you do so. If you wanted to watch the entirety of today's video, thank you very much. And like I said, if you have a different opinion on who you think the Browns are going to go after, if you think they're going to go after Mike Evans, T. Higgins, maybe they're going to go after a different player that I did not mention. If you think any of these free agents that the Browns are going to have out of like the 2025 players that are free agents this year, if you think they're going to sign back any of them in specific, if you think anybody I said they're going to sign back, they are not going to sign back, like I said, leave your complete opinion down in the comment section down below. Feel free to do so. If you're enjoying the content that I do post here and you want to go and hit that big red subscribe button, feel free to do so, and do not forget to hit that little notification bell to be notified the second I post. But without further ado, this has been Dallin Talk Sports. Have a great day. Peace.